Andy Clayton Richard, almost a one-man show today, throwing a great ball game through 7, the home run on his own. Your thoughts on his overall effort today?
Yeah, he was outstanding. Deserved a much better fate than he's going to end up realizing on a box score. Struggled with basically one guy in the lineup all day, which everybody in baseball has tended to struggle with him. I think our problem comes down to the bunt we allowed to D. Gordon to get on base, and then D gets a single in the 8th inning, and that's a really tough situation to walk Stanton. You put a guy who absolutely flies on second base with the heart of their order up and just needed one run. So every time he comes to dish, you contemplate walking him at this point in time. He looks about as locked in as anybody I've ever seen. It reminds me of like seeing Barry years ago when I was in the other dugout watching him do what he was doing. Just his presence in the box right now, it's extraordinary. So you got to give him a lot of credit. He changed games, even changed games when he wasn't in the box. So outside of him, Clayton was outstanding and couldn't feel better about what he's done and what he's meant to the club, and we needed length today, and he gave it to us.
If D. Gordon doesn't lead off the 8th with a base hit, you pitch around Stan at that point probably?
He gets nothing at that point in time. It just comes down, it's a very difficult proposition to put D. Gordon with his speed on second base and no outs in the 8th inning with Yelich, Ozuna, and the heart of their order coming up and Real Muto on the bench. There's a lot of options for them to score, and you got to get him out at that point in time, and he hung a slider and paid for it.
Did you contemplate maybe bringing in a righty or someone else to face him there?
I mean, you walk through those things in your head. There's nobody who's really had a great recipe of success against him. Had Kirby Yates down there in the bullpen. My bullpen's beat up from yesterday. We went very aggressively after it. At that point in time, Clayton had handled everybody else in the order but him, so the whole intent was to kind of give him nothing. That changes when D gets on base, and you have to try to pitch to him. Obviously, doesn't mean to throw the slider middle in, but missed his spot.
In the first inning, that was kind of ideal for you when you did get D out, and then Clayton pitched around Stanton.
Yeah, it becomes much easier at that point in time. Yeah, you have to give credit to what he's doing right now. It's every at bat is locked in. You could see it in the last inning. I mean, he's locked in. He's not flinching when you're coming up and in. He's not leaning out when you're going away. He's in his base the entire time, and he's looking really good. So. Didn't really have a weapon down there that I felt was going to completely neutralize him, and liked Clayton for the next number of guys. So we wanted to hopefully get through him.
I know the guys batting after Stanton are pretty good too, but outside of execution, would you have done anything differently against Stanton this series?
I mean, I think you have to execute. I don't think there was this clean time other than the one time we chose to intentionally walk him. That was first and third. That's a rare time to do it. I don't think there's a clean time to do it. I think that's a byproduct of the way Donnie's put that lineup together. Putting him in the 2-hole makes him a lot more difficult to pitch around because of the length of the number of batters behind him. If he's deeper in the order, it becomes much easier to get around him and navigate him. It's a tough thing because when D. Gordon gets on base, that lineup, it churns, and it's a tough one. I think the real story for us is like we did nothing offensively, and in the last 2 days we had every opportunity to win this game. Our pitching gave us opportunities, and we did nothing offensively. We had a lot of weak fly balls, a lot of weak contact, and that didn't really give us any chance to win a baseball game. You can always look back to Stanton, he'll be the story of the game because of what he's doing, but what we didn't do gave him the opportunity to continue to do that.
The home run for Clayton seemed like a pretty lighthearted moment in the loss. Have you ever seen anyone that happy aside from a first major league home run?
He's a pretty happy guy altogether. I'm happy for him. Turned him loose in a bunting situation. Didn't see that one coming, but it's good for somebody like him to experience that. He deserves so much better in today's game. He threw the ball very well, and that line's going to bite at the end, and that's frustrating from a manager's perspective that it played out like that as good as he was today.